like to take the time to welcome everyone to another Morning Glory Apostolic Prophetic Center video. Today we're going to finish a continuation on a message I was teaching last night. Stop trying to prove your love. Stop trying to prove your love. And today we're going to be in 2 Kings chapter 7. And we're going to deal with the lepers at the gate because many of us are trying to prove who we are to people, whether it's on our jobs, whether it's in relationships, friendships, marriages, our community. We are trying to prove who we are instead of being who we are. 2 Kings chapter 7 says, Then Elisha said, Hear ye the word of the Lord. Thus said the Lord, tomorrow about this time shall a measure of fine flour be sold for a shekel, and 2 measures of barley for a shekel, in the gate of Samaria. Then a Lord, on whose hand the king leaned, answered the man of God and said, Behold, if the Lord would make windows in heaven, might this thing be? And he said, Behold, thou shalt see it with thy eyes, but shalt not eat thereof. See, what we got to understand, there are a lot of prophetic words going out. And most of the prophetic words people are hearing today always deal with some kind of economic blessing, economic situation, or some kind of materialistic gain. But for the thought of the word today, we're not speaking toward money. We're just trying to speak toward the prophetic word of God. And a lot of you are overlooking, underestimating, and not really taking into account to when you hear a real prophetic word. Because if it has nothing to do with money, blessings, miracles, your husband, your wife, they fall to deaf ears. And for many prophets that are speaking in this season, and there are many, but because they're not on the platform that they need to be for the word to be broadcast, God has been speaking a word of preparation for about a year now. And within that word of preparation, God is trying to get many people who have been become outcasts to understand God has need of them. They can't think or fathom that God has need of them because they're still trying to prove themselves in their family, on their job, in their fraternities, in their sororities, and you know what? They're trying to prove their importance to the world. But in this season, your importance is in God. And what happens, a lot of us are missing words that's geared toward us because we don't respect the person they're coming from. So here in verse 2, it shows the king lean answered the man. He said, How can this thing be? See, a lot of y'all are being separated in ways that you don't know because the people that God wants you to be separated from, they don't want you to eat. He don't want them to eat what you finna eat. See, many people's hearts are being revealed about what they really mean to you, what they really think of you. And for God in this season, he don't want you to bless nobody just because that's your mama, that's your wife, that's your cousin, that's your day one. So a lot of you are having trouble pulling away from people that God said he has no use of them in your life in this season. And for many of us, because we don't quite understand what God is doing, we right here in verse 3. And it says, And there were 4 leprous men at the entering in of the gate. And they said one to another, Why sit we here until we die? If we say we enter into the city, then the famine is in the city, and we shall die there. And if we sit still here, we die also. Now therefore come and let us fall into the host of the Syrians If they see us alive, we shall live. And if they kill us, we shall but die. So what you got to understand is that a lot of people are at a gate of indecision. Should I leave my husband? Should I leave my wife? Should I leave them alone? Should I pray to God? Should I leave my job? Should I leave this city? And while you are replaying in your mind what you should doing, you don't see that you ain't doing nothing. You sitting there spiritually dying because you want a natural understanding to a spiritual decision that's already been made. So what happens is they in verse 4, watch this. They said to themselves. Now understanding that if you go research leprosy, there's about 6 different kinds of leprosy, but there are only 4 that really understand. So you got the tuberculosis leprosies, which is a type of leprosy that has mild symptoms and you develop a few sores. This because you got a good immune system response. See, your spirit matter in this season. How you treat people is how God view how dangerous you can be to him, for him rather, or how dangerous you can be to other people. Then they had something called lepromatous leprosy, and this is a type of leprosy that had widespread sores and they had lesions, and they affect the nerves, the skin, and the organ. Watch this. And the response, because you got a poor immune system, which means you don't have the relationship with God that is needed to take you to the next level because you are worried about what affects you naturally. Borderline leprosy is another one. This when you got the symptoms of both, but yet and still you're still able to progress and overcome it as you build your immune system up. Don't y'all think it's strange that when COVID came around, it dealt with the immune system? And so see here, we got to understand that even though there are different type of leprosies, these 4 leprous men were together. That means in some form of fashion, they understood by looking at each other that they had the same kind of disease because they didn't get worse around each other, but they didn't get better either. And see, a lot of y'all complacent. You complacent and it's killing you because you're not getting worse, but you ain't getting better either. And so for a lot of y'all, God had removed certain people, things, and situations. So, but for some of you, your hatred, your anger, your disappointment is so toward another person that you don't look within yourself and see what you could have done. You still pointing fingers at them. It's you did this, you made me do this because you did that, I did this because you didn't do that. You a leper because you have no skill of self-evaluation. They said if we enter in the city, the famine in the city. See what they came to a conclusion is that any move we make is a chance we gonna die. That's the situation I'm in. Any move I make is a chance I'm gonna die. But watch this. I rather die moving than die sitting still. And for a lot of you, you're sitting here, you dying sitting still because you scared of moving. But look what they did. They said, I'd rather go to my enemy and let my enemy kill us than stay here and let myself take care of me. In other words, I forgot we on TikTok, so I got to use the right word. They don't like all those kind of words. But what I'm trying to get a lot of you in the mindset in, if you look at your situation, you got to move the point, you got to move from the point of the valley of indecision, fault finding, judgment, deception, anger, and you got to move toward something that motivates you to want to be better. Verse 5 says, and they rose up in the twilight to go unto the camp of the Syrians. And when they were come to the uttermost part of the camp of Syria, behold, there was no man there. See, a lot of y'all scared of people, but people have no power over you. But because you blaming them for what you're going through, in essence, they do got power over you because some of you just people pleasers. And when you understand that you're a people pleaser, then you can't please God because you worried about the accolades of the people. So when they get up to make a move to die, there was nobody there. Verse 6 says, for the Lord had made the host of the Syrians to hear a noise of chariots and a noise of horses, even the noise of a great host. And they said one to another, lo, the king of Israel had hired against us the king of the Hittites and the king of the Egyptians to come upon us. Wherefore they arose and fled in the twilight and left their tents and their horses and their asses, even the camp as it was, and they fled for their life. See, a lot of y'all, if you stand up to the bully in your life, you will see ain't nothing to them. You will understand that God is calling a lot of you to stand up to people who think they got it all together. God wants you to stand up to people who think they know all about you. God wants you to stand up to people who think that you have no accountability, who think you have no remorse, who think you don't have no heart. And the problem is they about to lose everything they got because they think they really know who you are. See, the leper was outcast, which means they weren't able to be around nobody, but they was around each other. And see, we in the season that God is calling outcasts to begin to come together because they finna make a noise. And the noise they make gonna run these church folks out they building. And they gonna leave their wealth. They gonna leave their buildings. They gonna leave their houses. And what's gonna happen, we gonna see the glory of God descend upon the people that he need for this season. So verse 8 says, and when the lepers came to the uttermost part of the camp, they went into one tent and they eat and drink. And they carried this silver and gold and raiment and went and hid it. And came again and entered another tent and carried this also and went and hid it. See, a lot of y'all got to understand when God opens the door for you a blessing, stop hiding your blessing. And a lot of you hiding your blessings because you ain't never really been blessed. So some of you gonna be blessed beyond measure. Stop hiding what you have. So verse 9 says, then they said one to another, we do not will. The day is a day of good tidings, and we hold our peace. If we tarry till the morning light, lest some mischief will come upon us now. Therefore come that we may go and tear the king's household. See, a lot of you on the verge of losing who you are because you hiding who you are. See, we in a season starting today, that mask got to come off. That false sense of pride got to come off. That false sense of confidence got to come off. That false sense of fear had to come off. So you walking around him, have everything, but you live like you ain't got nothing. So for many of you, you trying to prove your love to people who already got an understanding of how they see you. See, that's why I say pay attention to what they say when they get angry of you. That stuff they holding in their heart against you. But only anger brings out of you because now they at a moment of time they don't need you. That's why it's easier for them to call the police on you, put restraining orders on you, try to defame who you are and your character because all along in their hearts they want to destroy you. So why do you sit in a place that a person showed you how they feel about you, showed you how they care about you based on what they said? How long are you gonna go keep going back and get the same limited, unwarranted excuse? See, some people don't even apologize for what they say to you. You know why they don't apologize? Because they mean it. They just want you to settle back down and continue being the fool that you always been played the fool. And that's what the song so everybody plays the fool. Sometime I done played the fool many a time. I done paid the light bill, and then when I went back, another nigga that hit it, and I'm just riding by. Y'all done rolled around houses. Y'all sit in y'all friends' car. What she doing, man? What they doing? Y'all done hid in bushes. Ain't that wrong with being a fool? But don't let being a fool kill you. So with that being said, stop trying to show your love to people who have showing, and verbally communicating that they really don't love you. So as we get ready to head on up to Washington, stop playing the fool for love because love don't love nobody.